Welcome back, folks. We've been talking about mortgage interest rates and the fees associated. I want to finish up on the fees real quick because I changed you there at the last segment. And then I got to get into this investing in real estate inside your IRA, which I think is a mistake for most people.
All right, so basically what we talked about is there's two sets of fees. Your actual one-time cost, which are your lender fees, escrow, title. And it's real important you get that breakdown because I have a lot of people that will say, wait a second, I've got an estimate and it's costing me $9,000 to refinance or $9,000 to do the purchase. And it's not the case. They may have $9,000 of total dollars that they've got to bring in to close, but maybe only $3,000 or $3,500 are for the one-time fees. The remaining amount are for prepaid. So what are prepaids? On a purchase, you are going to owe interest from the day you close to the end of the month. On a refinance, because we're taking out an existing loan, maybe we're taking out two loans, you're going to owe 1 month interest on a combination of your old loan or old loans and your new loan. Because on a mortgage, we pay our payment 1 month in arrear. We pay our interest 1 month in arrear. So at the time of closing, you're going to owe 30 days worth of interest. Then you're going to go a month without a house payment to start that cycle of paying 1 month in arrears. So depending upon your loan size, that could be $500, that could be $2,500. Then if you have an escrow account where they collect up front for taxes and insurance and they pay out on your mortgage payment on a monthly basis, depending upon the month and depending upon how much those are for your scenario, you may end up having to come up with anywhere between 4 and 8 or 9 months, depending on the month that we're closing in, to set up that escrow account for property taxes. So if you own a home that's $600,000 and your taxes are $6,000, $7,000 a year, that could be $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 just setting up your escrow account. For your insurance, based on when the policy renews and expires on a refinance, or if you're doing a purchase, what your total premium is that you've secured on the new home will predicate how much is collected up front. So these are for items that you pay on a monthly basis. You pay interest on a monthly basis, you pay taxes on a monthly basis, or at least you're charged for them on a monthly basis, as well as insurance. That's what a prepaid is, and that's part of the whole refinance to dial in or a purchase your final cash to close. A lot of lenders, they're required to be very, very accurate on the one-time fees, but will shortchange a lot of times what your total amount is that you need to bring in, or it's part of the transaction for the prepaids. So that's why it's real important that you do a good, honest comparison.
Steve Aledort, brilliant stuff. Loanfinancialplanner.com. He's the guy you want to call because he knows how to get the job done, which is also an important consideration because a lot of these people will, they'll quote you some lowball rate and then they can't close the doggone loan, or it takes them 6 months to get it done and the interest rates
change. Or it
change.
takes you about 50 hours of your own time because they're not properly collecting documentation up front.
All right, I got to move on to real estate because so many people want to own real estate, a rental property, et cetera, and there's all kinds of stuff going on online. I read something about it last night, as a matter of fact, where this woman, and she did it right, by the way, not very many people do. She liquidated her entire IRA and bought 3 rental properties, and now she's got a great real estate business inside of her IRA. And this is very tricky stuff. You can't do the remodeling yourself. There's a whole lot of rules that I'll have to go over on a different show sometime, but you can't act at your own behest. The custodian has to do all the heavy lifting. And you're not going to get good financing. Why she did 100% of her IRA, she liquidated all of it so she could buy for cash. Because a regular lender ain't going to make a loan to an IRA. They want a real person that's got a job out there producing income to be able to qualify for the loan, so they'll make it a hard money loan. You'll pay in the teens for a mortgage, which is dumb. So my take all along, Steve, has been to utilize your 401k plan perhaps for a down payment and then go to you and get a real live mortgage, or go to you and get a real live mortgage if you can come up with a down payment by refinancing your home or pulling equity out or whatever. Get a refi your existing home to get the down payment at a low interest rate, and then you've got the down payment for the rental property, and then you get a rental property loan on the new property, and then you can use your IRA, as you and I have talked, as a means to help you make the payments if you're running a little short cash flow wise. Talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for instance, I'm working with a borrower right now. Hasn't owned a home in a long time. She's a nurse, makes good money, hasn't put a whole lot of cash away. And with her IRA, she has a substantial IRA. You're allowed to pull, I believe, up to $50,000.
$10,000 out of an IRA. Penalty free, $50,000 out of a 401k.
Right, so this is a 401k. So she basically is allowed to pull that full $50,000 out of the 401k.
It's a real correction. It's a borrow. It's not a pull.
Correct.
They must borrow the
Correct.
money.
And she is borrowing it. And based on it being for a house, she has a longer term in which to pay that back through her monthly pay stub. They'll take it right out and pay back the 401k. And now we have that $50,000 that we're able to put down on the purchase, and she doesn't have to use any of the monies that she has, about 10, 15 grand put away, that we can keep as a cushion. So we're able to do it with, she's doing a purchase of about $525,000. We're putting a little bit less than 10% down, but because she has very high credit scores, her mortgage insurance is only about 0.4%. So it works out perfect, qualifies for the loan. She's able to use her 401k for the down payment and keep cash in reserves.
Yeah, and in that particular case, it's a principal residence, which by no means you could ever do through an IRA or a 401k. That's a prohibited transaction, which would cause the entire IRA to blow up in your face and you pay taxes. So, I mean, that's a great strategy. If you applied that same logic to a rental property, which so many of our viewers and listeners are interested in doing, and I can understand why. Rental property, as Jim Stewart will tell you, is, it can, over long time periods, can generate nice positive cash flow, inflation adjusted. You got to know what you're doing, et cetera. But it's much, much better to get financing. You make money on real estate, by the way, folks, on the day you purchase it by buying right, and on the day you finance it by financing it right. And that's why you go to Steve Aledort. Steve, we've used 72T elections before in the past. You and I have talked about this with individuals to help them with their cash flow. A lot of people get freaked out because they say, well, what if I can't afford the payment if my tenant moves out? We have the ability with IRAs to set up a 72T election, give them some extra cash flow, et cetera. There really, for most people that have 401ks and IRAs, is no excuse. If they want to diversify into real estate, they don't have to do it the hard money way. They can do it with you.
Yes, and on the flip side, if you don't need it for cash as a down payment, if you're of retirement age, we can actually set up a distribution in order to qualify for a loan if you don't have enough income based on what you're currently generating.
We need
right
to
now.
talk about that one next week, because that's really exciting stuff. We have discussed it before. LoanFinancialPlanner.com for Steve Aledort, 888-563-1070. We shall return. Thanks, Steve.